In the intricate world of Korean affairs, tailored intelligence makes all the difference. Korea Risk Group's consulting services offer specialized, actionable intelligence designed to guide your Korea-related decisions. We provide bespoke consulting services that cater to your unique challenges and goals. From policy analysis to market entry strategies, we bring clarity to complexity. Transform uncertainty into opportunity and visit koreapro.com solutions today. Hello listeners and welcome to the NK News podcast. I'm your host, Jacco Zwetsloot, and this episode was recorded on Wednesday, the 4th of September, 2024. Joining me here in the studio today, we have Seongmin Lee, who is he's the director of the Korea desk at the Human Rights Foundation. He was born and raised in North Korea, later coming to South Korea and then received his bachelor's degree in political science from Columbia University and a master's in international security policy and management from Columbia School of International and Public Affairs. Welcome on the show, Seongmin.
Oh, thanks, Jacco, for having me.
So let's talk about flash drives for freedom first. Tell us about flash drives for freedom. What are the primary objectives of this initiative, and how do you assess its impact on North Korean citizens inside North Korea?
Mm-hmm. The Flash Drives for Freedom is a multi-award-winning program that aims to send information from the outside world to North Koreans. We do this in partnership with local activist groups.
Activist groups here in South Korea?
Here in South Korea, That's correct. As you know, the North Koreans are most oppressed people in this world. I can attest to that as a North Korean defector and lived there over 20-something years there. We do not have the internet access. We are not allowed to make calls with outside the world. Of course, we are not allowed to leave the country without authorization. So everything is controlled. So the program is trying to provide North Koreans with alternative sources information to educate them, to help them understand their situation better in connection with the outside world. So in terms of the program effects,
yes.
The program actually was launched in 2016. Since then, we have now sent over 136,000 flash drives and SD cards.
So it's flash drives and SD cards.
Yeah, okay. SD cards.
136,000.
That's right.
Okay.
And sometimes there is a hardware, the bigger capacity memory drives. So in our view, it has impacted over 1.3 million North Koreans. I'll explain how we came up with that number. So our field partners estimate that one US drive is shared by 10 people on average. So what it means is that if you are North Korean, imagining ourselves as a North Korean, if you have a single piece of drive, either we will share that content with my siblings, my uncles and cousins, and close friends. So either sharing content or USB drive itself. So
but isn't that dangerous?
It is dangerous, but that's what North Koreans do. So it's simply, we could come up with a figure. Over 1.3 million people have been impacted. Yeah, so in terms of, I think that this is very important, I think, to mention. If you think about amount of content sent through the years, total amount we calculate now, it amounts to 64.7 million hours of reading materials, PDF files and electric files in novels and history, etc., and 2.6 million hours of footage. So it's a lot.
So it's not just text, there's also video footage in there as well. Okay.
Yeah, sorry for your listeners, a lot of numbers and statistics, but you could visit our program for more details.
Right, you've got a website there, flashdrivesforfreedom.org. Now, your organization is part of the Human Rights Foundation. What is that organization's goal, broadly speaking, and what are its specific goals about North Korea?
So, Human Rights Foundation is a New York-based nonprofit and non-political organization. Our mission is to protect and promote human rights and democracy worldwide with the focus on closed societies. So North Korea is one of them. HRF has been involved extensively in Asia in terms of the promoting human rights and helping activists in the region. So North Korea is one of them. Flash drives for freedom, for instance, that's one program we are working. And the other aspect is we are directly helping activists here in Korea, either through providing resources they need, the connection they need, or international global platform. For instance, the Human Rights Foundation runs the International Cities Conference called Oslo Freedom Forum. So
the Oslo Freedom Forum?
Yes,
okay.
We are inviting them there to share their stories with the international community.
So coming back to its specific goals on North Korea, in promoting freedom and democracy, does the Human Rights Foundation specifically call for regime change in North Korea?
We are not necessarily aiming at regime change per se, but I think that different people interpret it different way. But I think that, for instance, Flash Drives for Freedom is an embodiment of what we are doing here. The program aim is not a regime change. The aim is to empower North Koreans. More informed citizens are more likely to affect the policies in a positive way. So it could be, if regime change, that is North Koreans' choice, or just or change the policy in a way that is positive for them.
But it's not seeking then to directly cause regime instability or change from outside. Is that?
No,
we
are helping North Koreans to we are addressing North Koreans right now. So because the access to a free flow of information is globally recognized, internationally protected human right. So, yeah.
Okay, and what inspired you to launch Flash Drives for Freedom, and how does your personal journey through life influence your approach to this work?
So, Flash Drives for Freedom, the program actually was launched before I joined the Human Rights Foundation. It was launched in 2016. So basically, I also learned that those background, the stories later. So what happened was around 2013-14 and through 15, the Human Rights Foundation already was helping activist groups and listening to their stories. And many defectors from South Korea or elsewhere, they were kind of unanimously talking about importance of sending expanded information to North Korea. So HRF also organized a hackathon in Silicon Valley.
A hackathon. I've heard about that.
Inviting over 100 technologists and activists. So they even brainstormed about how to break through the North Korean information blockade. 2016, the following year, the organization launched this program. And in my view, there has been resounding success from the perspective of the metrics we have seen.
Now, I understand that you grew up in Haesan, the capital of Ryanggang province, which is in the far north of North Korea, near Paektu Mountain and the border with China. At that time when you were growing up, did information from South Korea reach you when you were in Haesan?
A lot. The Haesan is not just the area the information reached, but we actually actively played the role of a distributor.
Tell more about that.
The Haesan is considered a hub of imported and exported goods to China, and also famous for a lot of people trying to defect, the famous routes for defection. I mean, I myself was born in that city and grew up there. Grew up basically in China, just across the Yalu River. I saw how that information environment evolved because Haesan played such an important role in terms of information distribution in North Korea. So we send a lot of contents back then.
This contents, of course, are not coming immediately from South Korea. They're coming through China into the north of North Korea, right?
That's right.
It's very hard to reach Haesan from South Korea, even with a balloon or whatever. It's very hard to reach that.
We never seen things like a balloon.
Right.
But back then, we see like in a tape video recorder. There was like an old version, and there was like strictly required by agency to register. There was a particular institute to register it. And then after that, suddenly we started seeing CD players and VCD players and DVD players.
Right.
Or different version of DVDs, and there was just like a pouring in basically across the border. I'm not talking about just smuggling routes, but even official custom through the customs.
Really?
Yeah. a lot of the players were shipped to main cities, including Pyongyang, Sarimon, Pyeongchang, Wonsan, or all over North Korea. That was, I think that initial stage of information revolution, I'll call it, in North Korea. It was early 2000. And I also engaged the cross-border business for 7-8 years. While
you did some trading?
Yes, I did involved extensive trading across the border.
What were you bringing into North Korea?
A lot of things. Initially, I brought in something like cookies, chocolates, small items, because I was just a small little kid. Crossed the border into China out of curiosity. And soon that developed into full-fledged business, having relations with border guards as my covered business partners. And police officers, they also backing my operations in the second line, as you call it, after the border area. We brought in items like the car engines, motorcycles, and parts, and a lot of things. A lot of demands there in North Korea.
And also DVDs, did you bring them in too?
DVD players and DVD, the movies. Yeah, a lot of South Korean dramas and movies, yeah.
Wow, okay. Now, how does your organization, Flash Drives for Freedom, how do you today send information into North Korea? How do you get the flash drives there?
So this is an open podcast. So there is a certain limit.
I
cannot say I cannot go into great detail. There are different ways to do that. There are different ways. Of course, none of them is perfect. Every approach has pros and cons. Some of them send through the balloons, and some of the others send through in-person networks based in China along the border with North Korea. Some of them direct send with help of North Koreans who are abroad.
Now, I imagine during the pandemic time, it was more difficult to get the flash drives into North Korea. Is that right?
That's correct. I understand there are some few limited number of organizations still managing to get those things through across the border. But relatively speaking, compared to the time when I was there, of course, the border has been further fortified. During the pandemic, it was nearly shut.
Right. Okay, but now that the even in North Korea, finally the pandemic closures have finished. So, are you able to do more work now, getting the information?
Yeah. Basically, we are seeing that opportunities are opening up itself as North Korea is opening the border, loosening the border security a little bit. But still we need to put a lot of caution. Yeah.
Caution, right? Now, what kind of information or content do you want to send to North Korean people? Does it include political content, or is it a bit less political?
Yeah, I think that there is a debate among experts and even activist groups in terms of what content should or should not be sent. But in my view, it could be I think that any content. The reason is because North Korea is not the single monotonic group. There are so many different people, so many different education level, perspectives, experiences. So it's hard to customize, which content and also which content goes to whom. So if you send like all kind of variety, whether it's political, apolitical, historical, or entertainment, if you send those contents, even including education content like learning English, for instance, so different people, market works. The market system, facilitate the process according to the interests of different groups inside North Korea.
I know some groups have downloaded all of Wikipedia's content in Korean and put that on flash drives. Is that something that your group does as well?
Our partner organizations, they do. They organize, even the naval website, the content and Wikipedia content, or things like that. So I think that is in my view, that's a positive thing. You don't have to feed the particular content to North Koreans, based on your particular, perspective. Let them see the content about the world and let them decide, what to read and not to read.
And now, what are the main challenges in smuggling information into North Korea, and how does your partner organizations ensure the safety and effectiveness of these efforts?
Yeah, so there are certain things I could think about in terms of enhancing effectiveness, but I think there is also certain limit in terms of how much we could help them and to shape this operational environments. The reason is because our role here is Flashcards for Freedom. Running this program is not directly to get involved here and instruct them, every details, what to upload, download, or who is received. So instead, we are helping activists. The people who we understand they know the best about the North Koreans in their respective area. So let them decide what to read. And in terms of effectiveness, we want to ensure that content is delivered to North Koreans. There are different ways to verify that that's where the content, which area that was sent. But there is certain things we shouldn't even try to understand from the security perspective.
So is your organization then like a middleman between the foreign funders and the local groups who actually do the physical work of sending the drives in?
Yeah, so basically, that's correct characterization. But they do send the program updates because we need to understand actually how this is working.
Right, there has to be some transparency, right?
Transparency, and also because there are a lot of people involved. If you think about the Flashcards for Freedom, it looks like just on website out there. There's a lot of people involved here. Our colleagues. And they invest in all the sorting out the process, organizing donations process. Everyone is working. A lot of people involved.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure what we do actually have impact on the ground.
Is there some evaluation process there where you look at the different groups and say this group is doing a better job than that group, or maybe we shouldn't fund this group so much, or something like that?
It happens. And we are, because we have the program is now. It has been launched like over 10 years ago. So we have extensive experiences of, working with all kinds of different groups and understand the operation environment, what the user limits and the stretches, you could push. So, yeah, there are certain groups, certain times they're doing better over another.
Right. Now, how do you think the international community, people who are listening to this podcast, for example, how can they better help support efforts like Flash Drives for Freedom to promote freedom of information inside North Korea?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think this is very important. Very important is not because I was born and grew up in North Korea, but I think if you are seriously concerned about the well-being of North Korean people and also changing of North Korea, I think that sending information is not a cliche. There are a lot of people talking about sending information, but that's actually what it is. The weakest link of North Korean system. That's why they're active. The regime is active very, with angrily. So what you could do is that, given this importance, you could do a lot of things with, if you're a lawyer, you could help activist organizations in legal area. If you a technologist who could help with the technological aspect. If you are willing to, if you want to contribute financially, there are ways to to do that. So if you visit our website, we actually list a number of activist groups there, so you could see what they are doing and support the program. Or if you have any questions about any of them or about our program, please feel free to reach out to us.
Okay, now have you already received feedback and stories from North Koreans who have accessed the information provided through these flash drives?
Yes and no, and there is a certain flash drives we sent. We receive the feedback directly, but it does not necessarily mean we receive feedback every single time we send the information. The reason because, as I noted earlier, it's sometimes hard to see actually who actually get to see our contents because of security reasons. I just want to tell you, yesterday I received the feedback from North Korea.
Yeah.
So we received the videos, the phrase got out of North Korea, and also voice recording as well. The people, one person is based in northern Pyongyang province, just border area with South Korea, and another person based in Yangon province. And so it's great to hear their feedback. They are basically asking more such content and more USB drives.
Wow. And has it impacted them to change anything about their life or what they're doing at this stage?
Yeah, it's not like a huge change. Like when you hear the feedback in their voice, you could feel like a mixed reaction. One is they're hopeful. They're hopeful to receive some more the contents is from outside the world. At the same time, they have a lot of grievances of that the system, particularly the grievances aimed at officers, the government officers.
Mm-hmm.
They do not speak directly to Kim Jong-un. I don't know, maybe because of the security, personal safety issue.
Right.
But yeah, it's amazing to see the way they're complaining, how corrupt that government officers. For instance, like when they're sending activists sending flash drives, apparently police officers in the area. Government announcement basically says to residents, if you see any balloons, if you see any leaflets, the fell on the ground, you should report to police station nearby military base first. You shouldn't touch it. There is a poison, etc., etc. But apparently, what I hear, these police guys, they're also human. They're opening that and then they taking it. There's some items like that could convert into currency.
Wow.
So they are complaining like you want to also receive that kind of things as well. Apparently they lock down. Once they identify the balloon is landed, the person lock a certain location,
the area down.
Lock that area down and send the police and military to collect it.
So looking ahead then, what are your goals for the program and how do you see it evolving to further empower the people inside North Korea?
So given that the importance of sending information, because North Koreans demand for it, and I do believe this is very important work. We need to, those to see the real change in North Korea, they need to continue to do this work until the point that they no longer is needed. This work no longer needed. So the way I view is that, it's the environment changes so fast and technology is evolving, and the flash drives is, in some sense, is outdated technology outside North Korea. But still, to North Koreans, it is a very valued item, cherished item, and also it serves its purpose. To share the information is very safer compared to DVD or CD. So I think that programs like this will be continue to serve its useful purposes in the coming years. But we are also looking forward to adopt to the making use of the emerging technologies. So, for instance, like the program is the flash drives for freedom, but I think it doesn't necessarily mean our work would be just limited to flash drives only. So we are actually looking at other technologies as well, such as satellite devices and other. There's some innovative technologies and with the potential to apply in North Korea. So continue to help North Koreans reach have the excellent information.
Do you think that in the long term, if there's enough information circulating inside North Korea, that there might be opposition groups inside North Korea or people with people coming together to discuss different ideas or information that maybe stuff that the government doesn't like?
Yeah, so that's an idea. We hope to create a condition with what we normally discuss on the markets of ideas. The people get to see. I think that the North Koreans would experience some things like cognitive dissonance because you experience that kind of thing when you see certain things you didn't expect to see, and especially when contrast to your belief. As North Koreans started seeing like a lot of different things during the famine and after, they're kind of trying to make sense of what was happening to them. Likewise, when they see the different content information, I don't expect they just like immediately understand what it means and it quickly turn into the power or the practice. They need to we need to take it would take time for them to process. So they would come that kind of days as we continue to work towards that.
Okay, now coming back for a moment to the Human Rights Foundation, that organization has come under criticism for being too closely aligned with U.S. foreign policy goals, focusing its criticism on countries that are unfriendly to the United States and having an ideological color that is right-wing or libertarian. Now, I know you called it a non-political group, but what do you think about those criticisms?
Well, I think this is not really surprising to me. I think it's two things. First of all, the criticisms like that, I don't think that's new, particularly because the human rights organizations, whether we are advocating for liberal democracy and also in a market economy and human rights. So this is what it is. The countries under command economy, countries under so-called socialist country like North Korea, we see a lot of oppression and a lot of poverty and a lot of human rights violations. So the system, it needs to change. It needs to change for people. I mean, I was born and grew up there. I saw that human rights violations and the people just deprived of any kind of the basic freedom. So the organization like Human Rights Foundation is, to help them improve the human rights situations. The human rights situations, and how do we improve by providing different ideas. And I think that there is given there are all different political systems. Among them, I think that it is my personal view. Liberal democracy is, of course, it's not perfect. It has its the problems as we are rectifying it as a society. So I think that we hope the North Koreans to see the alternative system, and to do that. As an organization, what we're trying to do is help the activists in those closed societies. So it may appear like what U.S. the foreign policies aims to achieve, but that is not the case, because our policy development and execution has nothing to do with the U.S. government. Our sole mission is to help activists in those closed societies, especially the closed countries like North Korea.
Okay, all right. Let's now talk about a newer project, NK Insider, which listeners can find at nkinsider.org. What is it? What's NK Insider?
Different ways to describe it, but NK Insider is a platform that features the voices of North Korean people.
Okay, so it gives North Korean people a voice to tell their stories in English, right?
That's right.
Right. Now, how and why did you start this project?
So there are a number of excellent programs, including NK News.
Yes.
But I think the way we saw, when it comes to international discourse on North Korea, I think that North Korean voice is still relatively underrepresented. I think it's important to have North Korean voices in this discourse, because at the end of the day, this is the issue, directly affects the interest of the North Korean people. So we the program is working with a number of North Korean defectors, and I would say by extension we are also featuring the voices of those still inside North Korea. The reason, because our activists, our writers and activists as well, they're interacting with those inside North Korea daily basis.
Okay, how long have you been running this website?
We launched this in January.
January this year, so a little bit less than a year. Okay, now you already mentioned NK News. Do you see yourself as competing against NK News and 38 North and Daily NK, or are you sort of like a complementary to those websites?
Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't see that as in terms of competition, but as you noted, it's a complementary. I respect what your colleagues are doing at NK News, producing excellent content covering the country, and of course, 30 North, and they also producing very depth analysis. And Daily NK on the other hand, they're also doing a great job with underground reporters. So ours is, although we are all, doing, kind of, with a similar goal, providing insight into North Korean society, but our platforms, I think each platform plays a very unique role, complementing each other.
Okay, what kind of content, what sort of news and analysis are you putting up on NK Insider?
So we are producing news contents, op-eds, and analysis as well. Yeah, all those are different contents and covering different aspects of North Korean society, including its politics, economy, society, culture, science and technology, of course, including human rights.
And how many North Korean writers are you working with at the moment?
Actually, we could work with any number of North Korean defectors, because there's such a great pool of talented North Koreans here. But at the moment, we have about 10 people, and with about 4 or 5 people being regular contributor.
Right. Are they all writing directly in English, or is this writing it in Korean and then being translated into English?
Some of them writing directly in English, and others are writing in Korean. They get translated.
Okay. What do you hope to achieve with NK Insider?
I think there are 3 things, largely 3 things I could think about. One, to amplify the voices of North Koreans, defectors, and those inside North Korea. 2, Number two, I think it's important to have an opportunity for North Korean defectors to train themselves. Train themselves. I mean, in terms of improving their analytic skills, how to analyze the world events surrounding the Korea.
Yep.
And I think this is important because the important role they will play in the future Korea. Three, I think that by working closely with defector community, we are also closely interacting with those inside North Korea. So we want to also to provide them the skills needed to understand all these issues critically.
Now, you mentioned earlier that North Korean voices are underrepresented in discussion about North Korea. This week there was the Korea Global Forum here in Seoul. Did you attend?
I wish I had the chance to attend that, but I watched it online.
Okay. Now, there's certainly been a lot of criticism both here on NK News and also in Twitter and other spaces about the lack of female representation on the panels. But what about North Korean voices? Were there North Korean voices represented at the Korea Global Forum as much as you saw online?
Yeah, I think that I'm aware. I heard that criticism in regards to lack of diversity, gender diversity, in that panel. But I think that I saw there is a healthy balance of North Korean origin. The speakers as well. I think it's the 2-3 North Korean defectors.
2 or 3.
Yeah, that was I think quite. I thought that was quite positive.
Okay, but it could be more, couldn't it?
Could be more because, but I think that that's a really positive direction. I think that in the past, I tend to see the roles what North Korean defectors could play was quite limited in certain aspects. Like for instance, like providing testimonies about their life, difficulties, challenges, right? But I wanted to see the more North Koreans at the table of a policy discussion and a strategic level, because this is important to include their voice. So I think that part of the NK inside of what NK is trying to achieve is that to amplify North Koreans and how they view a number of issues affecting their homeland.
And what's been the response from readers so far?
A little bit mixed and bad. Let me start with the bad one first. I think apparently there is a number of actors who do not really think positively of what we are doing. I think probably, I don't know. There's a lot of hacking attempts to our site, directed at our site.
Do they want to change the material, or do they want to bring down the website completely?
Who knows? That because we are using strengthen the defense that using various algorithms, but we see that number of attacks directed at our site is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of people trying to access, have unauthorized access to our backend system.
Yes.
Yeah, that is one aspect quite notable. And the other aspect, I think the positive, I think that it's interesting. I mean, there is things that are happening on the Korean Peninsula here and there, and a lot of experts and a lot of articles talking about this and that. But our articles are not necessarily, maybe sometimes overlapping, but not necessarily the same. So I think that in that regard, we take pride. And also, I think that some feedback I received, they appreciate it. Because different perspective, directly hearing from North Koreans.
Right, okay. Well, good luck and keep going with that, nkinsider.org.
Thank you. Please advertise it as well.
Yeah, we'll put the link in the show notes, I hope. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is recently, together with the Human Rights Foundation, you had a call for proposals for funding opportunities to invite people to suggest ideas to improve North Korean human rights. Now, that round closed on August the 19th, so unfortunately nobody listening to this will be able to apply anymore. But just tell us, what kind of proposals were you hoping to achieve when you opened the funding opportunities?
Yeah, I think that Human Rights Foundation, as I alluded in the early part of my story, HRF has provided, supported North Korean activists and organizers working on North Korean issues for a number of years already. But I think the part of that goal the providing grants to organization is to enhance the capacities of North Korean defectors, because we think it's important to enhance North Korean defectors the status, their abilities to handle all these issues from their adaptability. Also, the issues like that in North Korea, such as improving North Korean situation, related to like increasing information access in North Korea. And the other aspect is to help other organizations conducting accountability aspects, right? The collecting evidences of human rights violations in North Korea. Yeah, so those areas is something we had in mind to support.
And what kind of proposals did you receive?
There's a great number of great applications. And
were they realistic?
Some of them, and yes, others not. But I think that most of them, the applications, we still need to, finish the review. But yeah, it's a lot of great ideas, and the ideas, we believe have, good impact in terms of helping the public better understand the situation, and also improving information access in North Korea.
And how much funding is the Human Rights Foundation planning to give away to successful proposals?
It will largely depends on the number of applications we decide how many of them is viable in terms of the feasibility and creativity and other factors. But yeah, we still need to decide on that. But just for reference, last year we provided over $100,000.
In total to the different.
Yeah.
Now, I know it's only been 2 weeks since the round of proposals were closed. So when will the announcement be made about who's successful?
We announced it. The final announcement will be made on November 30th.
Okay.
But it could be sooner.
Okay, so sometime between now and the end of November. All right. And will there be another call for proposals next year?
Yes, HRF supports activists and provides them all kind of resources they need and the trainings they need. So, we are planning to continue support organizations next year as well.
Okay, great. Now, what are your own goals for the next 12 months?
Next 12 months?
Yes.
The good question. We have begun a number of the works. Of course, that the project we are the funding project, grant applications now we are receiving. So we will need to help them to achieve their goals, stated goals over the next 12 months. And also a lot of work. The operating a news website as the NK Insider is not easy. Just realizing it's a lot of work than I thought.
Yeah. You could talk to Chad O'Carroll about that. Tell you some stories. Yeah,
you should have a coffee and to learn some technique skills.
Exactly. Okay, so apart from the websites which I've already mentioned there, flash drives, freedom.org and nkinsider.org, is there another place where people can find you or follow you online? Are you on Twitter or Instagram or something like that?
Yes, we have social media platforms for NK Insider on Twitter.
NK Insider on Twitter.
LinkedIn and Facebook as well.
Oh, good.
I do have a personal Twitter account as well, the Seongmin Lee NK. But so, there are many different ways to stay in touch.
Many different channels. All right. Well, thank you once again, Seongmin Lee, for coming on the NK News podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Score more for less with our NK News Shop discount campaign. Ready to upgrade your wardrobe with some unique flair? At the NK News Shop, podcast listeners buying any 2 items from our t-shirt or hoodie collections will snag their third for half off. Whether you're eyeing our North Korea-themed gear for yourself or as gifts, now is the perfect time to act. Don't miss out. Head to shop.nknews.org and make the most of this limited time offer. That's shop.nknews.org. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our podcast episode for today. Our thanks go to Brian Betts and Alana Hill for facilitating this episode, and to our post-recording producer genius Gabby Magnuson, who cuts out all the extraneous noises, awkward silences, bodily functions, and fixes the audio levels. Thank you, and listen again next time.